hard working.
Yeah, yeah. You could do what they like.
up both your eyes, we can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by.
It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us. I just remember, it's like I've been sleeping for years. I'm not awake as I can be, but my seeing's better. I can see through the tears. I've been realizing that I bought this ticket, watching only half of the show. But the scenery and lights and a cast of thousands all know what I know, and it's good, that it's so, it's in
Every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us, by and by. Yeah.
And welcome to Unity Center of Cedar Rapids on this beautiful fall Sunday morning, or almost fall Sunday morning, another week. So let's just become still and bring our attention fully into this place and this space this morning. And let's affirm together our invocation. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. Let's affirm that again. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. And so it is. Welcome everyone this morning. If you're joining us today on the live stream, we are so glad you are doing so. Please know that even though you may not be in the room with us this morning, you are connected to us heart to heart and soul to soul. Thank you for joining us. And know that whomever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here, because this is a place of welcome and inclusion, one that affirms you as the beloved child of God that you are in truth. Let's stand and sing. with joy and feel the sweet release. I start my day with love, I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, I feel the sweet release. Love, peace, joy, release. Love, peace, joy, release. Get more love, get peace and get more peace. Get joy and get more joy. Release. Get joy and get more love. Get peace and get more peace. Get joy and get more joy. Release. Get more love. Get peace and get more peace. Get joy and get more joy. Release. Get joy and get more love. Get peace and get more peace. Get joy and get more joy. Release. We are going to send our children off to the classroom this morning with Miss Tracy and Miss Cindy. If nursery care is needed, Brianna and Ashley will be personing our nursery this morning. So let's send them off by singing "We Are Walking in the Light." We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. Oh my goodness, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Oh my goodness, everywhere, manifesting now. Over here, over there, within, without, everywhere. Thank you, God, for my good, manifesting now.
Good morning. Am I on? I am on.
Great shirt.
I'm Barb Buchanan, licensed unity leader and prayer chaplain. And it's nice to see all of you today. Some announcements. So if you are a guest here, there is a welcome packet in the foyer, and we look forward to seeing you again and welcoming you again. The special events team is having a meeting in the strong room, and this is a group that is planning fun for UCR. So please think about joining this lively team and coming up with wonderful ideas to enhance our spirituality. And Reverend Debra is going to start a 5-week new book study by Bell Hooks, all about love, a new vision. So this book reveals the causes of a polarized society, shares how to heal the divisions that cause suffering, and reveals the truth about love to help us instill caring, compassion, and strength in our homes, schools, and workplaces. All About Love is a powerful, timely affirmation of just how profoundly her revelations can change hearts and minds for the better. So we invite you to join us on Thursdays, 10:30, starting October 5th. And I know you know who makes all of our wonderful teas and coffees. Don. You are so welcome to come on Thursdays. I'm also the Sunday assistant today, so if you have questions, you can certainly talk with me, and I'm also your prayer partner today. And I'd be honored to pray with you today in the prayer room after the service. So please join me in our statement of purpose. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We gather to create an experience of spirit At Unity CR, we offer practical teachings that empower abundant and meaningful living. Meeting you right where you are, we endeavor to provide a variety of ways to support your path of spiritual living. Our mission is to provide spiritual awareness and share the wonder and joy of God's love. And I invite you to listen with your hearts and your ears as we read the daily word. Joy. God's joy blesses each day of my life. The aroma of my favorite foods from childhood brings a happy memory to mind. Hearing the voice of a dear one warms my heart. Looking upon a newborn's face for the first time evokes a feeling words can't even describe. While the giddy excitement of a child's joy may now be a memory, the joy I know today still delights me. Each day I embrace more completely the joy of knowing I am a living expression of God. God's life lives as me. God's wisdom is within me, my guide to a deepening understanding of myself and the world around me. The love I share with people who are dear to me is God's love, living in each heart and expressing as each of us. What greater joy could there be? From 1 Thessalonians 5:16, rejoice always.
Let's all stand and sing Everything is Sacred. We're going to repeat the first two verses. So slide people realize that we're going to repeat those first two verses. Everything is sacred.
Everything is filled with the divine. Everything is alive with spirit, with spirit. Everything is a wonder, unfolding right before our eyes. Everything is alive with spirit, with spirit.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. I encourage you just to set aside whatever you brought in with you today, whether it is material or emotional. Let it go for just a brief moment and enter into the stillness of this moment where there is peace, where there is life, where there is love, where there is healing, where there is joy. Come, beloved, into this space, this place, this consciousness, this awareness, this holy moment. Let love move in and through every fiber of your being. Love is that which heals anything unlike itself. As a writer reminds us, there is no difficulty that enough love cannot heal. Let this great healer, this uniting presence within you, knit up all the fragmented parts of your being into your wholeness that is the truth of you. There is no difficulty that enough love cannot heal. There is no door that enough love will not open. There is no gulf that enough love will not bridge. No wall within you that enough love will not throw down. Love indeed is the great healer. And we are called to love. To love. To love God, love self, love others. And to be the very thing itself in expression. It matters not how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake, a sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. And as all that is antithetical to the truth of our being is dissolved within us, we begin to see the world as God sees it, with the eyes of the divine. And we begin to see God in everyone and in everything. Beloved, for that is what you are. Come into the stillness. Be still and know that love is love in you. Creator, Sustainer, beloved Spirit, we thank you for this time in which we have remembered that we are your beloved and that we are the essence of divine love, expressing in this moment, in this time. And we send a blessing of love to the person to the left, the person to the right, the person in front, the person behind us, to every corner of this building, to every child, to every volunteer, to every living being. And we gather those blessings and we send them into our world to heal, to bless, to uplift, and transform it, particularly in this time. And it is with a heart filled with gratitude and a being overflowing with thanksgiving that we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. And so it is, and so it shall ever be. Amen.
There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, over land and sea. A little shy and sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he came my way. And as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Then one day, one magic day, he came my way. And as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, all of you. It was beautiful. I love the last line. The greatest thing you'll ever know is to love and to be loved in return. And that's so true, that we are here to love. Marianne Williamson writes that we are here to make possible or make visible the glory of God, but make manifest the glory of God, I believe, is the word she uses. But the way that we do that is by loving. In 1 John 4, it says, God is love. Clearly, God is love. Not a being having love, as Emily Cady would remind us, but love itself. That the very essence, the very energy of love that we share with one another is God. Today's lesson is kind of a preview to our book study that'll start in a couple of weeks. And it's based on All About Love by Bell Hooks. And I don't know if you know that author. She died about 2 years ago, relatively young woman. She was born in the 1950s in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. She is African American. She's a black woman. And I know Hopkinsville, Kentucky very well. It's just north of the Tennessee state line, about 50 miles from my birthplace. And the 1950s in the segregated South was not an easy place to be. She went to segregated schools. She did well. She graduated from the high school there. By the time she graduated, the schools had been integrated. But she was accepted at Stanford University, where she got her bachelor's degree. She was educated also at the University of Wisconsin, and I think at the University of Southern California. She taught at Yale. She taught at Stanford. Brilliant woman. And she ended her career at Berea College, which is in Kentucky. And if you don't know about that college, I invite you to look it up, do some research about it. It's amazing. It's in Appalachia. And it's the first college in the South to be integrated before the Civil War. And we don't understand, we don't think about these things occurring in these pockets of the world, but they did. It became segregated later during the Jim Crow era by state law, but it has always been in the middle of Appalachia, a college that is diverse and inclusive, celebrates LGBTQAI students. It's amazing. So she ended her career there. But in this book, All About Love, she writes about something that occurred to her when she happened to her when she was teaching at Yale in New Haven, Connecticut. She was going through a time of longing and loss. A longtime partner had moved from her life. And she would pass these panels of graffiti art that she said moved her to hope again that love is possible. Well, one day in New Haven, some contractors had painted over these panels. And she was devastated by that. And in a way, it became a symbol to her that maybe love isn't possible after all. But she also began to use it as a metaphor for our cultural approach to love and how we often will, because of hurt and loss and grief, cover ourselves over, insulate and isolate ourselves from loving. She tracked down the artist, and indeed, one of her assumptions had been that the artist must have known grief and loss in his life, and indeed, that is exactly what was the impulse of this creative expression. She writes that our culture has become cynical about love, and not just romantic love, but the love that we share within all of humanity. She writes this: when I travel around the nation giving lectures, and her context of her work is about the intersection of racism and sexism, poverty, and other oppressive structures. That is the essence of her work. She says, when I travel around the nation giving lectures about ending racism and sexism, audiences, especially young listeners, become agitated when I speak about the place of love in any movements for social justice. Indeed, all the great movements for social justice in our society have strongly emphasized a love ethic. Yet young listeners remain reluctant to embrace the idea of love as a transformative force. To them, love is for the naive, the weak, and the hopelessly romantic. We see that on the other end of the cultural perspective as well. We see some ministers facing congregants who are sharing that Jesus' teachings are weak. They aren't applicable to today's time and this place in which we find ourselves. But justice without love becomes punitive. It becomes retaliation. It becomes retribution. But love and justice become grace and mercy and compassion. Love has a deep and abiding place. It must be central to the work that we do to transform and heal our culture. She writes, "Only love can heal the wounds of the past. However, the intensity of our woundedness often leads to a closing of the heart, making it impossible for us to give or receive the love that is given to us. We are like the graffiti art that is painted over, that you can still see the faint outlines of the drawing, the faint outlines of the energy of love, but we have isolated, we have closed our hearts to one another." You know, this practice of loving, this practice of seeing each other as the sacred, divine, beloved creations of God that we are, is necessary in this moment. And I don't mean to be hyperbolic, but I think it is more necessary in this moment than in any moment in my entire life. Because we are finding ourselves polarized. It breaks my heart that the teachings of our way shower and our elder brother Jesus are viewed as weak and naive. It breaks my heart. It weighs on me heavily that somehow justice is not mitigated through love. Love is the transforming power. Love is that which binds us all together, heart to heart and soul to soul. It is the connecting sinew of our relationship with one another. It's love. It has the power to transform anything unlike itself. The author, I quote him so often. This is one of those that you've probably memorized by now because I quote him so often. Emmett Fox wrote, "There's no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not throw down, no sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all." That is the power of love. Love dissolves anything unlike itself. Love heals, love uplifts, love transforms, love connects. Love turns retribution into grace and mercy. There are many people in our world today that feel isolated and alienated, and this was underscored during the height of our recent pandemic. And so we find ourselves in the past couple of years reconnecting, rebuilding those frameworks in our relationships one to another. But we find ourselves even more isolated and alone by what is happening in our culture and in the world around us. Now, this sense of separation and alienation is a symptom in our society. It's not the cause, it's a symptom of the cause. And the cause is that we have cut ourselves off from this flow of divine love within us. We no longer perhaps recognize that this beloved divine essence views us, knows us as its beloved. And from that impulse of awareness, we begin to love those around us. And as we love those around us, as we see them as God sees them, sacred, holy, perfect, then we begin to help those who feel less than that begin to knit up those broken places within them so that they express and live as the whole and amazing divine expression that they are in truth. It requires intention for us in this world to love, to see God in everything. And if that is naive, then it is naive. But it is our way out of this particular predicament in which we find ourselves. Someone's race, their ethnicity, their sexual orientation, their politics, their gender identification, their economic standing have become walls between us. They are used to alienate and divide us, to make us fear one another. But we will heal this culture in which we live as we love, because love tears down the walls. You may remember the story when I was hired at Wesleyan College in Macon. I was hired to be the director of campus ministry, which meant that I was doing vocational work with students, discerning vocation, and interfaith dialogue. There was a chaplain there. He'd been there for a long time ordained United Methodist minister. He passed away just about a month before the chapel was set to be open, and I received a call from the president of the college telling me that I was now the acting chaplain, a Unity minister, acting chaplain in a Methodist college, opening and consecrating a Methodist chapel. I did not know how to be a college chaplain. I'd never been a college chaplain. I loved working with the young women at women's college that I worked with. I love that age group. I was telling someone yesterday that they would come into my office at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, several of them, many of them. I always had Reese's for them. And they would come and sit in my office, some in the chairs, some on the floor on a rug, and tell me about their day. I did not know how to be a chaplain. So I contacted the chaplain at Mercer University, which is a Baptist college there, Baptist University in Macon, very historic one. It's aligned more with the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship, no longer with the Southern Baptists, but there is a chaplain there, Reverend Dr. Craig McMahon, and he came over to Wesleyan, and I said, Craig, I don't know how to be a chaplain. Tell me how to be a chaplain. And he said, well, first of all, don't have chapel services all the time because they won't come. He says, we're a Baptist college, and we require that they go, and they still don't go. He says, this is what you do. Just love them. He says, it's that simple. Just love them. And that's what I tried to do during my tenure. Just love them. And that's what we are called to do. We may not know how, in this moment, to transform this culture in which we find ourselves. But we can just love. We can just love. See the beauty in everyone. Our elder brother, teacher Jesus, models that for us. He modeled breaking down barriers. He modeled loving, healing, and transforming. We're to love, to share, to reach out with compassion to each other. with no strings attached, no expectations. It's not transactional, it's transformational. This is God expressing in and through us. And it is God's will, according to Eric Butterworth. It is this ceaseless longing of the Creator to fulfill itself in and through us. And there is no greater way for it to do that than for us to love. Victor Hugo wrote, "To love another person is to see the face of God." So when we love, when we just love, we see the face of God. We see God in everyone and in everything, because love opens doors. It unlocks souls, it releases fears, it unfastens chains and fetters. It looses us and sets us free. We are to see God in everyone and just love. God bless you.
Everything beneath the sun breathes like a harmonia. Pure perfection has begun, shining like a midnight sun. Out of darkness I have come. I see God in everyone. Let me be an instrument, guided by and heaven sent. May these grapes of pain ferment, alchemize to love's content, ever be a sacrament, knowing God is my intent. God, let me know your name, hold me in the same breath as your word. God, I feel you all around. Oh, how you astound me with your grace. Rolling like a thundercloud, let me live my love out loud, standing for mankind and proud, baptized in the holy shroud. Peace be still and know me. God is in all I have found. God, let me know your name, hold me in your same breath
Thank you, and thank you again. Would the ushers please come forward? We bless these baskets and the abundance they will soon receive. We see them as symbols of the potential available to all of us. As we participate in this sacred act of giving and receiving, we give abundantly, we receive thankfully, and give again generously. Please join me in our statement of offertory. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We take a moment now to surround all who have asked us to pray with them and for them, knowing that mighty currents of God's healing love are flowing through them now to heal, to bless, and to prosper them in every good thing. We release these requests. We let them go, trusting and knowing that all is well. And we dedicate and we consecrate these tithes, these gifts, and these offerings to the will and the work and the way of the Christ as it expresses through this ministry of love and service. And so it is, and so it shall ever be. Amen. Before we join together in the peace song, I want to talk to you for a minute. You hear me say often that we are here by divine appointment. We are here to grow, to love, to share each other's journey, to encourage each other along the way. I have felt your love, your compassion, your encouragement so often, and it's what has sustained me during an interesting 4 years. However, over the past few months or so, I have clearly discerned, felt something pushing on my heart, something moving in my soul, telling me that my appointment here at Unity Center of Cedar Rapids was coming to an end. So at the end of my annual contract, which will be the end of December, I will be leaving. And in January, I assume the role of minister at Unity of Madison in Wisconsin. My last service here will most likely be the Christmas Eve candlelighting service. I stand here today with conflicted emotions, excited about new possibilities and possibilities for UCR, but deeply sad because I love you and I deeply love this ministry. We've grown so much together. And I want you to know, and I ask you to please hear me, I am not unhappy. I have a remarkable relationship with the board, with staff. I'm not unhappy. There are no negative issues forcing this decision. It is only Spirit tapping at the door of my consciousness, as Emily Cady reminds us. This move will make space for new leadership here and will provide the opportunity for Dawn and me to realize some important goals that we have as a couple. My role until the end of December will be to spiritually support you during this time of transition, but I will not disengage from my commitment to you. I will serve you as I always have until the day I leave. The board is working with folks from Unity Worldwide Ministries, our regional consultant Greg Coles, and others to create a transition plan, which you'll hear more about. Again, please hear me. The impulse for this move is that Spirit is moving me in that direction. I love you. It is my great honor to serve you. It is my great joy. And we have a long time to say goodbye. But please know that I will be your minister until the day I depart. And now Paula Land has some things to say.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Paula. I'm the board president. There surely is a variety of thoughts and emotions that we are experiencing right now and that we will be experiencing as we move forward over the course of the next few months. One feeling I have is one of great gratitude to Reverend Debra for, one, staying with us through the holidays, which is such an important part of a spiritual community. And the other is for what you have brought to this ministry over the last nearly 4 years. As Debra said, well, first, please know that your board supports this ministry in this transition. We have been in touch with the Unity Great Lakes regional consultant, Greg Coles. He was here about this time last year, gave a talk, did a leadership workshop. And he is, one of his responsibilities is to help guide ministries through transition. So fortunately, there is a beautiful document that will guide us through this process. And we intend to make good use of that guide by creating a transition team. The transition team will not be the board. It will be a couple members of the board and a few members from the spiritual community. The purpose is to make sure that from an administrative and a spiritual aspect, that all things continue, that we support Reverend Debra throughout her transition, knowing that she has a lot to deal with in her move, but to also ensure that this ministry is cared for. So please be assured that we look into each other's faces, as Debra said, and see the face of God, and see love in one another. We love you.
Let's stand and sing. Let there be peace on earth.
Meant to be with God as creator, and we all are free.
No.
Let us walk with each other in perfect
love you too, honey.
Peace eternally, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. God bless you.